What are all these camera mode options in your camera, and when would you use them? So all cameras have an ability to allow you, or it on your behalf, to manipulate shutters and apertures depending on what it is you're looking for in a shot. So in this camera here, as with most cameras, there is a dial, and I have P mode, shutter priority mode, aperture priority mode, and manual mode. Now in a later video I'll discuss what these scene modes will do later on, because they're really saving you from yourself. But these ones require you to have a little bit more thinking about what it is that you want in your shot. And that's the journey in photography, that we start off just pointing and hoping the heck that something works, to where, aha, I want this to happen in my shot, and therefore I need this shutter speed or this aperture to be able to help me. So the camera mode dial basically allows us to switch between those options, and in P mode it's basically going to make sure that the camera doesn't give it too slow shutter speed or too fast a shutter speed that puts either you or the camera itself under pressure, and that would be ideal for the kids. You know, travel photography, it's a really good transition mode. It's called programmed auto. It's basically an auto mode that is programmed, that lets you more control, but its default is to act almost like an auto. So it's great on vacation. It's great when you don't want to think too much and you just want the camera to help save you from yourself. Now here we have shutter priority or time value. So S, shutter priority mode, you choose the shutter, the camera chooses the aperture for you. Time value is the same thing, it's just what some manufacturers call it. So you choose the shutter speed itself, so you know that that's going to give you an effect, or it's going to protect you from an effect. So camera shake, you know that a shutter speed is going to get you there with a long lens, you would choose that. So they're the kind of options you would choose, and it would be where the shutter speed matters. So in this case here, on that camera, I was able to get to 1/8000 of a second because I wanted to get all those grains of sand just suspended in midair, and I wanted to make sure it looked like there was nothing moving there. Now, you know that guy's not parked, you know, because you can see the movement in the shot, and I wanted that shutter speed to do that. Now with aperture priority mode, we're now switching gear. To many people, aperture priority mode is a more creative mode, because you're now looking at making sure that more is in focus or less is in focus. So there's a lot more creative decisions potentially being made in that mode. So A, aperture priority, some manufacturers call it AV, aperture value, but they do the same thing. And the kind of shots you're talking about here are where there is a lot of depth of field that you want to make sure. So to have the road here in focus, and have the road here and the mountains off in the distance in the background, and F8 is a decision that was made in that aperture priority mode to get that shot. Now B and M, the reason why I have them both here is that some cameras, particularly entry-level cameras, they will only give you a bulb mode in manual mode, but some mid to high-end cameras will generally have a B just for that. So what is it we're looking at doing with that mode? So where we want those longer shutter speeds, now this is extraordinarily long. So manual mode will go usually up to 30 seconds, whereas bulb mode, the shutter is open as long as the shutter button is pressed. 3,958 seconds, that's what was needed to be able to get those light trails to go so far into the shot. No longer single specks in the sky, they're actually trails. So essentially what we're looking to do is to understand increasingly what is the most important thing in the shot. And it's very hard to get everything. So you want a fast shutter speed and a large depth of field. Good luck with that. You want a slow shutter speed and a shallow depth of field. Good luck with that. So usually you're making a decision around one thing. And what I often say is that photography is about making a decision, but it's also about letting go of one other thing, maybe two other things that will help make that work for you. So that's what the camera mode options, the dials do, the choices you give them, and this is when you would use them. So as always, if you have any questions, just pop them in the comments.